Hey, I know, like, you know where I'm at, like, hey, Jeff, no, I got you, brody. Look, hey, let's go, hey.
Wise.
Real life, real talk, never fall, we ain't doing that. Want me fall off, but I can't, I'm just too attached. I was so lost, I ain't going back. Never fall, never fall. We on the road, yeah, we on the road. Every day like the Olympics gon' go. Yeah. I'm in control, I thought you should know. Real life, real talk, never fall.
Hey guys, what's up? I think it's episode 7, I think. But anyway, we're back again. Same old crew. Here to talk, you know, share a bit of knowledge, hopefully not upset anyone. How are you boys? How's the week been?
Been good?
Pretty good, not too bad. Very cold here though.
Yeah, it's pretty cold. So Harry's
here today, man.
Harry's like, a powerlifter now. Apparently. How's it going, bro?
You bring the powerlifting side of the input?
Yeah. So rest longer, eat more, do less.
What did you squat?
260.
260.
That's solid.
But to give context, because I've known Harry for a long time, and I know like 260, like if I squat 260, I'd be over the moon. But I know for him, it's just like whatever. What was your best squat back in the day?
300 I've done for 5.
Yeah. And what, like a week out from a show, wasn't it?
Yeah, 101. I was 100. It's my best squat. 3 times 5, 101 kilos.
Did it?
10 days out from a show.
And did it? Yeah. Didn't you used to do something crazy for like 30 or 20 or something? You told me.
Yeah, I mean, I can squat. Yeah, I'd squat like. I remember once training with Kevin O'Grady and who's a New Zealand pro, and another guy, and we would squat like 5s for. Well, I'd squat for close to 20, and those boys would squat them for close to 30.
Yeah.
5 plates for that, you know what I mean? But they were both bigger than me, my cousin and Kevin. Yeah, I'd squat 4 plates for. I squatted 3 plates for 50 once on a bet.
Weren't you doing it in like jean shorts or something?
Yeah. 3/4 pants. Yeah. I wasn't even there to train.
Let's change the subject.
Shit, then I had to back myself.
Let's change the subject because I'm getting upset. Anyway, you put up a real good post yesterday about something about. It was something along the lines of coaches asking you for help, and I got the impression that you didn't get credit, or not that you want credit, but like just a thank you or a little bit of acknowledgement. Because one thing I want to point out is like none of us know everything. And it's okay not to know everything. Yeah. And in fact, people will respect you more when you don't know everything and you admit you don't know everything. Like I've had lots of times in my career coaching people where I've had something come up and it's just been out of my pay grade. I didn't know. Look, perfect example. We had Mandy on the other week and she had that glute issue from the rolling. Yeah. And I was like, I rang both of you guys. I was like, have you ever experienced this? No, we hadn't, but we worked it out. And I told her, I talked to Harry, I talked to Denver. It's not something to run from, and like we've all coached heaps of people, but we've also had a lot of help. I mean, I've had help from both you guys over the you know what I mean. Like at some point, Harry, like over like the last 10 years, Denver more recently, but it's not something to be like.
Yeah, I mean, so
you just look like a fraud. Like if you.
Well, so my motivation for that was more just like something that I was having a conversation with somebody about, and they were saying how rare it is for somebody to give them a shout out, right? For example, I went to this meet on the weekend. I didn't know anybody. I just went by myself. It was just like a thing I did on a whim for, I don't know, something to do really. It was a fundraising thing, whatever. So, and one of the guys that was there is a coach, and he had a team there, and he was the most helpful guy. Do you need this? Do you need that? Have you thought of this? Have you thought of that? And I was so appreciative of that. I posted about how much I appreciated the effort that they went to and how welcoming the team was, and it made me think about how many people over the years that I've been involved with their process or their some aspect of their coaching, whether it's them coaching them or helping them with their clients, and how reluctant a lot of those people are to say anything about it. And I don't normally care about it, but every now and then, after a while, you're like, dude, this is getting old. Again, I'm going to help somebody else get ready. And so when you speak to them about it, they're always like, oh, I'm just, they're protecting their income. They're so insecure. I don't want your clients. I don't want your money. I'm always happy to help somebody out if they ask me a question. It's just a matter of like being respectful about it. Like, you know, Jordan never shies away from the fact that when he was kicking off, I helped him with that. We did preps together, you know, and initially it was me telling him, and then us telling each other. And now I'm at a point where if I need a reference or I want to talk to somebody about what I'm doing, I talk to Jordan about that, because I've built that rapport of trust. And, you know, his knowledge base in some areas is greater than mine, and perhaps we've got things that we can discuss. You know, it's the same with if I'm trying to, you know, I was having a conversation with you, Denver, about some other things. So, and I think people get too protective, and they think that they're like, in some way it's gonna belittle them. They're belittling themselves. They're putting themselves down, and they're so scared. And I feel like if you're that person, and it extends to the way that they speak about other coaches, you know, as well. Like, so it's that whole across the board of how we speak about coaches, how we respect the people that have helped us along the way. And it says a lot about a person when they're pretending they did it all themselves, because they eventually get caught out. And it's amusing to me when it happens. And what you find is that the people who are happy to share ideas and give credit where credit's due, build a bigger business base, have a more successful outcomes, and for the most part, they're just more successful human beings, right? Whereas the ones who are so sort of like cagey and negative and don't give the respect where it's due, they're floundering. And I feel like that's something that maybe they don't see it, and maybe it's just a matter of them not understanding that it isn't something to be scared of. But I don't know. So that was what motivated me to.
The stupid thing is, like, generally, if someone's got a client and they know that you're their coach, and you've there's something that's a bit tricky, and you've gone out of your way to talk to someone, they're going to be like, oh my God, you went out of your way to find this out for me. Like, I'm so appreciative of that. They're actually going to respect you more. Now, obviously, it depends how much you're helping, because I know both of you guys have helped people way too much. Like, you've pretty much prepped other people's clients, and you've basically prepped people in secret, never got credit for it, both of you. And you both prep pros like that. I don't even care. They can listen to this. They can hear it. They will hear it. And I get annoyed, because I'm like, you guys are my friends, and you guys are knowledgeable, experienced, and you should be getting credit for this. For some reason, people want to hide it, but it just comes down to they're just insecure, and they don't want to give someone credit, or it's that they don't want to pay. They either don't want to pay you, or they don't want to give you credit for it. And it's just like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird, but yeah, I've told you guys this off this as well. Like, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, even like when I started coaching, like, I've been coaching for what, 11 years. And I know when I first, like, my first few years coaching, Harry, I would like be like, hey bro, I'm peaking this person. Like, what do you think of this? And you generally, you'll just be like, yeah, it's like, do that. Like, I don't think there's ever been a time where you've like actually you ever said no. But it was just I felt good at the time. I mean, I was like 21 years old, 22 years old. You know, like, I needed that like reassurance, but you're doing this right.
Yeah.
Because my knowledge was not the best. I was still working shit out, but I never hid from that. I never would have been like, oh, I did this all myself. No, because I didn't. And I knew that one day I would, but I wasn't there yet. And I just think it comes down to integrity. But I mean, we could talk all night about this, really, especially with you two. Denver's just smiling because he knows.
I'm sure Denver, I'm sure you think about it the same way as I do. It's just comical to me. Like, I very rarely bother. It doesn't, you know this. In fact, it frustrates you about me, Jordan. I don't really care about it that much. It's just funny. Do you know what I mean? Because because in my mind, I know what I did, and that person that asked me, they know what I did. So
it's annoying when I get told by clients, oh, this girl's looking really good, and they'll send me her profile, and I'm like, yeah, because Harry's prepping her. That's when it's annoying. Yeah. And she's like, who's Harry? And I'm like, exactly.
It's pretty funny, but it is what it is, man.
I don't hide it. I tell them I don't give a shit. You know, you guys are my mates, so if you guys are doing work and not getting credit for it, I'm not going to be quiet. Yeah.
Although, to be fair, listen, Jordan, on that and the ones that and the person that you're referring to there,
they give you credit. They give you credit.
He's actually pretty good at giving me credit. Yeah,
gives you a lot of credit. Fair enough. But
yeah. So I mean, I respect
the fact that you need like at this point in time, like if you need that, if you're like, I mean, like, right, if you need help with every client you're prepping, like this, you probably shouldn't be prepping someone. Like that's just how I look at it. Like when was the last time I asked you about it, apart from Mandy's glute? Like, you know, like
yeah. No, I know. Listen, I mean, it's horses for courses, right? I get it. I feel like there's got to be some. So it's growth, right? People, some people grow and others don't grow. They don't grow in that same way.
Anything to add, Denver? You got nothing to add, eh?
We've spoken about this so many times, Brian. You know all the people that I've helped. You know, like as much as it irritates me, we're like, you know, like it's kind of out of my hands. And even if you look at something simple as like even giving you credit, bro, because you've influenced me so much with like just being more proactive with my posts online, or just trying to get a goal of even just putting one post up online. And I sometimes put that up because you call me out on it. You know, because I tell you I'm going to put one up, and you're like, where the hell is it? You know, so like it doesn't always have to be with training or nutrition. It can be any aspect. You know.
Yeah, just life.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, I had a good question last week and we never answered it. And usually we do questions at the end, but I'm going to flip it today because I feel like this is a subject we might talk about quite a bit. And I feel like it was asked in a way that they were being a smart ass asking it, but it's actually a good question. And it was, if someone cheats on their diet all the time, do you think this sport's for them? And let's not jump down the throat of the question. I at first I did jump down the throat, but I processed it a little bit. And my opinion on this is, if it's like a reoccurring thing and every time you're trying to prep for a show you're just cheating, then no, it's not for you. Then either is an underlying issue or you just don't love bodybuilding and you're not that competitive and you don't have that competitive nature that you require to be a true winning competitor. It is what it is. But I feel like for some people, I find it hard to comprehend because I never had this problem because I was so obsessed with winning or trying to win that I didn't ever want to give someone like like every time you cheat on your diet, you're giving someone ground. They're either getting more further ahead or they're catching up. So I never wanted to do that. I always wanted to know I'm doing the perfect, the perfect thing. Whether it was or not is a different story. But I feel like for some people, they don't have that. And when they're early on, they may have these issues. And I guess it just comes to a point where they need, if it keeps happening, they get to a point. And if they don't kind of learn how to deal with it, then yeah, maybe it's not for them. But what do you guys reckon? Like, what's your guys? I mean, Harry, you've been around a lot longer than me. Denver, you've been around a little bit longer than me, so you've probably seen a lot more. But what do you reckon?
Well, you go Denver first.
All right, sweet.
Because I'm the kindest.
I mean,
let's say we're talking competitive bodybuilding.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was going to start with. If you're a serious competitor, and especially you get all these hashtags road to pro guys after like 1 or 2 comps, I'm like, that shouldn't even be an issue. That shouldn't be something that's coming up at all. Especially if you're fully invested in the sport and wanting to climb and beat people, you shouldn't be cheating on your diet. If you are, then I would really rethink this. Like if it's not the case where it's not someone that's like competitive. Like I literally had a client check in on the weekend and tell me that they're cheating on their diet. This is literally 1 or 2 weeks after stopping the cheat meals, And I literally told her, I was just like, I know obviously they're not probably looking at it way too seriously, but I told her, if you're going to cheat on your diet, you're holding yourself back. So in turn, to balance that out, we're going to have to eat less food and do more cardio, which you're going to hate. So, I mean, I feel like there's different ways of looking at it, but for a serious competitor, I feel like, I mean, on the odd occasion, I guess, honestly, I can't relate because I wouldn't do that. But for someone that does like have a cheat on the odd occasion and slip up and fuck up, yes, we can fix that. But I feel like if you're wanting to compete at an elite level, that shouldn't even be crossing your mind. That temptation shouldn't even be there. And
it creates problems because if you all of a sudden you're like, coach, I fucked up. I ate this, and you're like, okay, well, tomorrow do this. That fixes it. It doesn't really fix it. It just puts a little bit of a plaster on it. Then they think, oh, okay. So then they go cheat again, and they just keep doing that, thinking it's okay. And what people end up doing is they have these crazy binges, and then they starve themselves the next day or the next 2 days. They do heaps of cardio, and they just keep repeating this, and then they wonder why they look skinny fat. Even like they have no definition. There's no hardness in the muscle. It's just that like you can pick it a mile away. I've had clients where I knew that they're doing this, but obviously sometimes you can't just come out and be like, you're doing this. You've got to kind of monitor it because you're not always right. Eventually you've got to ask the question, but you get that like soft skinny fat look. There's no hardness. it's kind of like a puffy, and it just doesn't look good. And yeah, it's that's the only issue. Like, yeah, there's some, if it's a one-off, maybe there's something you can do to fix it, but you just don't want to open that door of like, okay, this is what we do when we make mistakes, because that means there's gonna be more and more.
Becomes a habit, becomes a binge habit, right?
Come on, we're talking about prep. We're talking about prep, like prep. Like, come on, guys. But I mean, we could talk about off season, but then we'd be talking about 85% of competitors probably. Let's not go there. Don't want to upset too many people after the last one.
Well, so just my response to it would be, so the first thing that I do if somebody's getting ready for a contest and they're really struggling with that, I might have a look at their nutrition plan. I might think, okay, so maybe there's some way that we can alleviate this through their eating, create a better situation so they can stick to it. But I guess at the end of the day, you know, as you guys are both sort of iterated, if they can't stick to the diet and cheating becomes a constant problem, that's something they need to work on. And sometimes what I'll tell people when it's continuous is I say, this probably isn't, I generally won't say this isn't the right sport for you. I'll say this probably isn't the right time for you to do this. Like, you need to have everything right. And, you know, worse now, of course, is when I'm sure, I don't know if you guys get this, but one of my particular bugbears is that they'll talk to somebody else and that coach will say to them, well, what are you eating? Oh my God, you could be dieting on this, and this person eats this much and they're doing all of this. And you're like, okay. So that's why there's reams of people walking on stage that are out of shape, because coaches are giving them diets that are going to keep them. They're like, oh, this isn't so bad. Well, it should be bad. It should be hard. I think I really try to tell people, you know, as you said, I think a couple of podcasts ago, Jordan, the first part of the diet's not hard, really. You're just easing into it. But that last 6 weeks, that has to, if it's not hard, you're not in shape. Either you're a genetic freak or you're just not in shape. So yeah, I'll have that conversation with people where it's like, okay, maybe this isn't quite exactly what you want to do. So I would say, yeah, if you have chronic issues let's say if you have chronic issues with cheating on your diet and you're out of shape, you've got problems. You've got problems on problems. If you're like one of those people who's like ridiculously lean and sticking to your diet is really hard and you feel like you're just chewing everything up, well, then maybe as a coach, I might look at that and go, okay, you're a little bit ahead. I mean, it doesn't happen very often, but I'm sure we've all had clients before. You get closer to the show and you're like, shit, I really need to pick this person's food up almost. You know, their metabolism starts really ticking over. And those cheats come because the food you're giving them just literally needs to be up. So then I will up that food. But then you find the people who get in that kind of shape are so disciplined that it's not, you know what I mean? It hardly ever happens that really happens. So I think, if you really struggle with sticking to food patterns and stuff, then you need to work out how to ease into that and probably spend a good off season getting used to patterned eating, building some discipline, and then having another go before you invest. I'll try to talk them out of it a gap before the show comes, because I continue with missed shows in the last 2 weeks. I'm not competing. Can be really soul destroying for that person and not helpful for them moving forward.
Yeah, it's good. I don't know about you guys, but I would say that probably over 50% of the people I prep, I generally pick their food up at the end. The last like 4 or so weeks, I generally have them eating more, and they also have more regular cheat meals like burgers or refeeds, whatever you want to call them, depending on the person. Like I find probably 60% of my clients, the ones who get in really good shape generally, are the ones that are doing that, and it's 100% reflection of how they've handled the prep.
Right now, 40% of Jordan's clients are going, well, fuck this guy. Am I one of the ones that doesn't get my food picked up?
No one's close to show. But I generally give, my thing is I usually cut the cheat meals right at the start and just get it rolling, try and get ahead of the curve. And then so they'll get more cheat meals the second half of the prep than the first, but the second half of the prep will be way worse because you're getting leaner, and just being lean, you're going to feel like shit. But you said before, you'll look at the diet sometimes and you might change things up a little bit. I just want to reiterate something. That's okay to a point. Like you agree with me. That's okay to a point, but then you get to the point where it's like, okay, if I change this anymore, it's going to be detrimental to the progress. And then it's up to the coach to be, is the coach okay with having you do something that's not optimal? Like I'm not, no.
Yeah.
If I'm prepping you, we're doing it the bit. There's room. So I'm not like it's not like this is the way. Like I'm going to work with your life and work with your schedule and work with your likes and dislikes, but there's a line, and I'm not crossing that line for anybody, because I mean, I've got pride in what I present, and I want you to have pride in what you present, you know. In the past, I've you know, just when I was coming up, and you know, you want to keep people happy and stuff, but I found, like, you know, you get to a point where you're like, it's like, you don't want to be that guy that, like, oh yeah, I prepped this person, but they were like this, and that's why they don't look that good, and oh, this person, blah blah blah. Like, there shouldn't be, like, you don't want to have to make excuses for people you've, you know, prepped.
You're also giving them a subpar experience on the day.
Yeah, they're not going to get that. Like, they're not going to get that.
You want them to
like,
rock up on the day, be lean, that they're that they feel like they've done everything and they're competitive, and then they can walk away. So regardless of what the placings are, if that person's in real shape, they're going to go, I put my best foot forward. So yeah, I mean, in that sense, when they start to, there's a point at which they start saying things like, I miss this and I miss that, and I say, yeah, I miss my dad and I miss, you know, having more holidays, but it's not going to happen. You have to be, there's a point you just got to go, that's enough. That's enough now. It's just establishing, I guess, where that point is.
Oh man. Crack me up. I don't know why.
Yeah, nobody, but when they listen, when they message me stuff, I'm like, bro, compassion doesn't live here.
Oh, you're the
Not
compassionate one out of us three. Denver, you've exposed yourself. You were the nice guy. I was meant to be the asshole, but I think you are. Oh fuck. Anyway, should we critique some physiques? Let's critique some.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do it.
You guys are in the right mood for it. Okay. Anyway, where am I? Okay. Can you guys see my screen? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, we'll do a few. We'll do 3 or 4. If any names yell out, could just say it. I don't want to have to pick everyone. Let's do this one. 40 years old, 3 kids, 52 kg on stage, 5'6" bikini. Okay. See, this is what we want. See, I'm on her page and there's just comp photos everywhere. This is what we need when we do these things. Okay. Who wants to go first?
Go ahead, Harry.
Okay.
Sorry.
She looks good. Her overall conditioning is very balanced, and it's good, decent. Nice shape. I guess, what did she say she was, 40?
I think so, with 3 kids.
With like kids, few kids. I think she looks amazing. The shape's really, really nice. The only thing I could probably think about is a cleaner line of separation between her hamstring and glute, and a little bit tighter through. See, in this pose here, if you leave it here, like the hamstring and glute, probably just a slight bit more of a line in there, so there's a bit more separation, and a little bit tighter through her lats. How we would make that happen, so that just where her strap is, how we would make that happen, I'm not exactly sure. If you could, because you don't really want to build, you probably don't want to build her up anymore because she's the size and shape for it. To me, it's just a little bit drier and a little bit more of a separation in her hamstring glute area. But her top to bottom, front to back, balance and conditioning, I think are amazing. I think
I feel you could peak that, like what you just said. You could just peak differently to achieve that.
Yeah, exactly. What's there, just like a few percentage points drier, and you'd also have to be a little bit careful that she doesn't come in too dry, because she's very lean. Would just be a little bit drier to sort of tighten up, create a bit more lines here and there. But I think she looks amazing, fantastic.
Denver?
Personally, for me, like, I'm going off what Harry said as well. I mean, like, I feel like most of the work has to be done in the lower body. Like, conditioning, obviously a big part of that. Like, just glute hemi tie-in, you can just see, like, just in that lower glute hemi area, you know, like, it's almost smoothed over a bit too much. Seeing a bit more detail through there, I feel will help a lot with that look. I do feel like she's pretty lean upper body, but I feel like you mentioned as well, like, that could just be fixed with a peak. You know,
Yeah.
I feel like
Just
it's
to,
almost like
just to
that,
sort of tighten it a little bit more.
yeah, yeah. It's almost like I feel like there's that little bit of a fluidy look.
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
taken away from that hardness. That could just be something with just manipulating things at the end.
Yeah.
But overall, honestly, 43 kids, amazing shape, like suits bikini really well.
Yeah. Beautiful bikini shape.
So I see a ton of potential here, like a lot. I think conditioning's good. I would personally, just in my opinion, a little bit tighter, a better peak. But like the shape and the structure is really good. One thing that needs to be better is posing. The posing isn't the best. But that's a very easy fix. That's not even like a bit with better posing the back shot, all right. But that side shot needs to, there's a little bit of work that needs to be done on that side pose, which is going to help obviously present better. In terms of the lower body, need more glutes for sure. I would say just bigger glutes all over, upper glute, lower glute. That's going to also help with the tie-in. But more muscle, the whole, I would say more muscle whole lower body, to be honest. Quads, hamstrings, and glutes, but especially glutes. Upper body is awesome. Upper body is really good. I don't personally think upper body needs much other than better posing. Posing is going to create that, a look of, blah blah blah.
It's almost like she needs to do something a little bit in the way she presents her back, so it doesn't bunch up so much around that kind of.
Yeah, and obviously that can be age,
but otherwise,
well.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much all in the same mindset, right? A little bit leaner, a little bit more muscle downstairs.
You can see this pose here where you can see the glute, like you can see where. But anyway, a lot of potential, and I hope you carry on because, with a couple, a year or two on top of this, it's going to be a really nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like it's literally just small adjustments
for sure. Let's do. So that was a bikini. Let's do a bodybuilder. Here we go. Denver, pick someone.
Hold on. Anyone that's let's go Aisha.
Okay.
Since we're doing bikini.
All right. So this is one of my clients, so I'm going to let you guys do the business. Sorry, I forget this lags. So that the last one, it looked like I was going real fast, but it lags a bit. So I need to slow down with the photos. I don't know if it's lagging for you guys now, but on the recording it did.
Do you got any pictures from the back?
She's got her back shot's probably one of her better shots, so I hope so. Maybe it's the sorry. No, nothing. There's nothing. I mean, I've got them on my page, but I can't. It'll be too much of a mission.
What about that one in the green?
Let's see. I actually think this was her better package of the two last year. No, she hasn't posted a back shot. No, only front. But he's got a good back shot.
Okay.
Well, I think so from my perspective, her overall shape's really nice. Her shoulder to waist taper, perfect. Waist up, amazing. Waist down, nice shape. Needs to be a little bit tighter through the hamstring and glute again. Just a little bit tighter through the hamstring and glute. I don't know. I wouldn't say that she needs to have any more size. I feel like she just needs a little bit better conditioning there. And but her overall shape and look is really nice. I'm assuming she's a little more petite.
Yeah, I think she's 5'1".
Yeah, she's
She's a small human. I think I've got. Let me just see if I can just quickly find this before.
There's one there.
There we go. Back shot.
Yeah, so when you look at it from the back now, that's pretty good. Me personally, I would just say there's a little disparity between her upper and lower. Yeah. And so I'd be working to rectify that. Her abs are really, really good. So I think whether just to balance the conditioning out so that it's not. So the thing is, she's so lean up top that when you see her moving, it's obvious that her legs are behind her upper body.
Yeah, for sure.
That's all I've got. Otherwise, she looks great, man.
She put a lot of size on her shoulders. I think
it's got really nice cap delts, really nice back, really nice overall shape, and just a really good look.
I think in terms of like potential, I think she's got some of the best potential in the country in terms of amateurs. Just her structure, she's got a very small frame, but her muscle pops And like we've been saying in the last few episodes, how important that is for bikini. It's just time for her. And yeah, as you said, just needs a bit more muscle on the lower body. I think upper body is like spot on personally. Conditioning, maybe it's hard. I don't think her conditioning's too off. I just think a bit more muscle, and then maybe she could be a touch fuller. But yeah, I think the sky's a limit for this girl if she wants it to be. Denver?
Yeah, definitely agree. I reckon she's definitely one of the top amateurs in the country. If anything, coming up, just almost in like not too far reaching for a top win. Upper body, I definitely feel is on point.
Yeah, very
Muscle
perfect.
bellies, back, conditioning, everything like that. I don't really feel like there's a lot of work that needs to be done there, but I do feel like her shots could be a lot stronger if the lower body was a bit more developed. Like it's obviously a bit more conditioning in the lower body as well, because I know her upper body gets like crazy, like it's crazy pop to her shoulder and she gets dry and stuff like that. If she could kind of match that with her lower body, I feel like she could dominate on stage, and that just could just be like with just a little bit more time, like I feel like that'll come through.
Oh, she's only 22 as well. So
Yeah, so it's just a bit of maturity.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that'll just come with time. But yeah, mostly I feel like in the glute hemi area, I feel like if he can get that to match her upper body, she'll dominate on stage.
For sure, we're all in agreement there.
Yeah, she looks good.
All right. Let's go this one. 5 Fry Alex. All right. You go, Denver. You start, bro.
All right. What bodybuilding?
19 bodybuilding.
Okay, team bodybuilding. Okay.
Yeah.
Go through them one more time, bro. I mean, for team bodybuilding, I feel like like that's really good conditioning. Like usually at that age, I feel like this guy's clearly got his consistency, his training, his diet on point. So at that age, that's amazing to see. And honestly, at this point in time, for him, it's just putting on mass everywhere. I wouldn't really have like particular areas that you'd want to critique on, but from what I can see, his shoulder to waist ratio is not the best. Like it doesn't look like he has a very tiny waist. So I would say in that shot, obviously being a taller guy, I feel like he can pull that off. But in general, if you look at his abdominal thighs, like shoulder to waist looks almost straight. So I do feel like trying to cater to that and building certain areas like your lats, your shoulders and stuff like that would create that illusion. Again, even a bit more meat through the quads and stuff like that. But at this age, honestly, just grow, bro. Eat, grow, train, eat. Simple.
Yeah, I think so. From my perspective, with young Alex is just more size everywhere. Like you said, Denver, he doesn't have anything that's it's nothing missing. His conditioning is great. He looks like he's one chip over his peak.
I think so.
But aside from I think he looks great. I mean, I think his potential is good. He has got a nice structure, and you're right. His shoulder to waist taper in that front double bicep, even in this pose, it's not like it's crazy, but I think his waist is small. It's just a matter of not having enough muscle to really capitalize on it. So when he builds, over time, as his lats get bigger and his quad sweep gets bigger, like his front lat spread here that you're showing, that shows a nice shape. You imagine that with 10 to 15, more kilos in the right places, and that's going to be a pretty impressive physique. So for where he's at right now, if he's in it for the long haul and he can sort of stay on track and keep things disciplined, he's definitely going to be he'll be doing well in a couple of years. It's just a matter of getting more size on everywhere.
That's pretty much it. Just needs time. If we're
going to that fucking top knot, what's going on with his hair?
We should sponsor him a barber.
I'll sponsor him some scissors.
in terms of the stage photos, I was at this show. It was a little bit flat if you want to be hypercritical, but I mean, again, that's just time and working things out. So everything.
He could listen. He could have. You can see like a separation. He could be dry through his legs. His glutes could have been tight and harder. Waist up, he's very, very, very hard. Everything's right there. You think I actually think he looks a little either underloaded, or maybe not enough carbs plus a little too dehydrated. Yeah. But otherwise, I think he looks, for his age, all things being equal, I think he looks great.
Did a great job.
Yeah.
So yeah, just need to get bigger, Alex, and you will. Be patient. We'll go one more. Let's go one more.
Should we do one of the big guys? Is there any big guys?
It's Anthony, I guess.
Anthony, we'll do Anthony.
Let's have a look at Anthony. I'll follow him a little bit. He's a big dude.
Okay. Has he got any stage photos? No, he doesn't.
I reckon further down. It's been a while since he competed.
There's that glute one.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, it's. I mean, there's one.
Is it? Oh, it's just the one. Yeah.
Zoomed in to the max.
I reckon if you go down, there should be, because it's been a few years.
Yeah. I mean, Anthony, like everyone kind of, he gets peeled. I personally think the best look he's ever had was when Denver picked him in 2000, and he was smaller, and then he went to Phil after that, and I feel like every show he got worse because he just tried to come in super full.
It was nasty for that show, bro.
I was at the show. He was inside out crazy. He came in like 10 kilo heavier at nationals, but I don't think it did him any favors. He lost his crazy conditioning, and he didn't have the mass to.
These ones, do that one.
Go to the blue.
Do the blue, yeah.
The blue one, yeah, it was that one.
Yeah. So wow. Honestly, like he was proper peeled, like leaner than this. He's lean, real lean here, but he looked.
On stage, he was just like,
I look crazy, man. Look crazy. If I was going to critique Anthony, I would say he needs to sort his posing out. I don't like how he poses. Not that I don't like it. I just think it can be. His physique is more superior than his posing, so he's not doing himself favors.
He's not doing his best.
If he can get his posing better, it's going to actually complement what's strong on him, because he's got some very, very, very freaky body parts. Obviously from the rear is very strong. His back and his glutes, his hamstrings get, as you can see there, they get sliced. So his back shots are amazing. I think he's a little weaker on the side, just in terms of like legs. Doesn't have the freakiest legs from the side, and I think his arms as well. But part of the issue with the arms is just the insertions and stuff. So I would say, if you're asking me how to get better, come in gnarly shredded like this. Obviously this is filtered, but still, and just the limbs, if you can improve the legs and the arms to match the rest, it's going to be that's some nasty shots, man. That's some nasty shots.
Yeah, I think like what you're saying is, like at this point he's got a lot of size on his frame, and he gets great conditioning. His shoulders are crazy big, round. His taper is great because his back is amazing. It's just his leg shape doesn't lend itself, to that kind of freaky sweep or anything. But the conditioning compensates for that. And then his triceps from his front poses, you sort of think his triceps need, there's, you can see, but like, even as he got bigger and bigger, like you see in his front lat spread, his triceps look like, they need that a little bit more on the outside just to have that kind of shoulders round and then triceps again. But yeah, I can't argue his conditioning is amazing. So his overall structure is great. And I'm sure that we're not telling him anything new if we tell him that he needs bigger arms to match those crazy shoulders of his. Biceps are good. Yeah.
You can see here that this was one of the later shows, and yeah, just like I feel like it's pushed too hard. Like the midsection's pushed, is like you can see the lower belly, like it's been pushed out. There's not much detail through the abs. Yeah. I feel like if this was just brought in dry. He posted the other day on his story, like photos from before his load, and I was like, you should have just come in like that. He agrees. Like he looked freaky, real dry. Everything was like paper, and then obviously trying to push the fullness. He was just doing what he was told as well. This wasn't his choice. But yeah, Denver, what are we going to add?
For this year, if he is going to compete, I'd say work to your strengths, bro. Honestly, like you get freaky lean. Like I feel like sometimes focusing too much and trying to play the size game with people can ruin that freak factor that you have genetically that the bigger guy might not have. So honestly, we've seen way bigger guys lose to guys sometimes 20, 30 kgs to them, just purely because they just come in nasty peeled. So my first thing would just be, just do your own thing, bring that crazy condition if you're getting on stage this year. We do see like he's very dominant through his shoulders. He's got very, very wide lats. I don't think you have to worry about that sort of thing. All the areas I'd say work on would be like you guys mentioned as well, like triceps would definitely change a lot through the side poses. We'll add a lot more like density to those poses as well. And because your lats and your shoulders are really wide, that they almost overpower your lower body so much. Even though you get a freaky condition, I feel like you do need a bit more width, a bit more meat in like your adductors, your outer sweep, to create that same sort of powerful like look that you have up top. So I feel like if that would be your priority, to really keep those muscle bellies full right through prep, would be great. Well,
So I think the takeaway tip there is use your insulin around the leg workouts.
Yeah, definitely would help. Yeah.
And not everywhere else.
Yeah, I'll just prioritize, honestly, like triceps, hammies, quads would be the focus. Everything else, I feel like most of the stuff's there, you know.
Yeah.
And just
and like you said, as you were saying, Denver, just focus on that crazy ass conditioning, because that is your strength. 100% smash the conditioning out of the park. Don't try to come in. Don't bother playing games. Just come in as sharp, absolutely as sharp as you can, because that's the defining factor, right? If you don't have the gift of muscle bellies, those guys that have got those beautiful muscle bellies, they can come in a little fuller and a little not be as crisp and do really well. But if you don't have that genetic crap going on, you really just need to nail your conditioning. So yeah, I think it looks great.
Control. Okay, we'll do some questions.
Yeah.
all right.
This first one, I'm just gonna chop it on the head real quick. So it was, has bodybuilding lost its shine? I have noticed all federations are having small fields. And let me just, people keep bringing this up to me all the time, and it's annoying because you just gotta use a bit of common sense. The reason the shows are small is because nationals is in 19 weeks. People are not going to do regional shows and then know they're going to have to diet another 20 weeks till nationals. I have 35 people competing between NZOFB Christchurch, Wellington, and Waikato. Why? Because that means you're going to have to diet for another 7, 6, 2 weeks. You know what I mean? People aren't going to, most people that compete earlier in the year are either very experienced and it's thought out, or they're just doing one show. Some people will carry on, but most people aren't going to do that. So don't fear. The shows are still going to be packed. But they're just, just wait, guys. Wait for the later shows, and there's going to be big fields. Lots of people are going to do them. There's going to be 100 plus at nationals. It hasn't died. That's my take on it anyway. Just want to put that out there because Anyway, good question now. How can natural bodybuilding comps bring themselves to the level similar to unnatural comps? Based on size and they said marketing question. See, they asked that question. They did size question mark, marketing question mark. I said people aren't asking clear questions, so we've kind of got to guess what they're saying. But if I was going to answer that question, I would just say it won't. You can't. Natural competitions are never going to be able to match unnatural competitions. That's just the fact. Majority of people that are going to go to natural competitions are people who are friends and family of the supporters. A lot of just people going to a show aren't going to choose those shows just because of the freak factor. When people go to a bodybuilding show, they want to see the best athletes. And I'm not saying there's not amazing naturals. There are. I've coached some. There's amazing naturals, but most of them aren't at the same level as untested federations or untested competitions. So for that reason, in my opinion, the natural shows are never going to be as popular. The only way they will be is if there's lots of, like I said, lots of friends and family going to them. And I just want to also say that I have a lot of respect for natural competitors, especially males at this day and age. I have a lot of respect for them because I think it takes a certain kind of mental strength to be able to be like, you know what, I'm actually not going to do what everyone else is doing, because majority of people competing now are using something. And to each their own and all that. But I have a big respect for people, especially people who reach a high level naturally. because the temptation will be so strong to be like, I wonder what will happen if I jump on stuff. And just the fact that they don't, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with doing it either, but I just have a lot of respect for that. But in saying that, I'm also not going to go watch a natural show unless a good friend or family member is competing. So, you know what I mean? Or clients. I'm not going to, you know, because it's just, yeah, it doesn't excite me. And that's how most people feel. And well, that's how I see it anyway. I mean, this is probably going to upset people. I don't want this to be disrespectful. And like I said, I have a lot of respect for it, but it's just, that's just the way it is. That's why the open men at the Olympia are the draw card, apart from Chris Bumstead, because they're the freaks and it's abnormal. And that's what people want. It's bodybuilding, you know, like it's meant to be crazy. It's meant to be unattainable. It's meant to be, what the fuck is that? You know, like that's just how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, I see it the same way. I mean, I think the shows generally have a lot of competitors. I don't know what it's like over there, although I did see that ICN one in Taupo had 120 competitors. So that's a great turnout. The natural shows over here have massive turnouts in terms of competitors. How do you raise them to the same level as competitively? Well, I almost look at them as two different sports. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel like even though a lot of the criteria and everything are the same, the bodies that are on stage generally aren't. So I wouldn't. I mean, I think that if you can consistently, if the consistent level across all the naturals was, so the problem is that you'll have some amazing competitors and then a lot of not less than amazing competitors, and that kind of, the standard isn't quite across the board the same. Although, from what I've been watching with a lot of shows lately, that's every federation. So I just look at them as almost two different types of events, if that makes sense.
I personally, again, this isn't taking away any sort of like respect that I have like from national athletes, but I personally don't think it'll ever reach the level that you're going to get to what the athletes in an enhanced show are going to be at. Personally, just because end of the day, it's bodybuilding. I mean, the whole reason bodybuilding is what it is because people go there because they want to see crazy freaks. They want to see big muscles that you don't see day to day. You know, and that's just not going to happen in a natural show. You know, like even though they're working just as hard, and honestly, you might get the odd 1% of guys that are just crazy big and shredded naturally, but majority of them are never going to be the case. You know, they're going to almost have like a over dieted look.
Yeah,
that's the look they're gonna like. If I saw that look on an enhanced stage, I'm gonna be like, they're either over dieted. That's kind of the look I feel like you'll get in majority of the people in natural shows because they're not gonna have, unless they're in that 5% of like genetically blessed freaks that are just shredded year round and full and eating a lot into the show and stuff like that. You know, so even if I feel like if marketing was improved and stuff like that, I feel like unless it's like you're just not gonna get that freak factor. Especially like in anything, you know, like I feel like people want to see extremes.
Yeah, and like let's be real, like the marketing in general across everything is not that, like marketing's not thrown down our faces. It's generally people just pick what they like.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't see that much marketing for any federations really, but you see the odd post here and there. But it's not, you know, we just gravitate to what we like, and that's just the way it is. So
I also think, just as a side note, I think that the promoters of shows, years ago when I started bodybuilding, the promoters were probably more inclined to try to get more people to the show because, you know, back in the good old days, we paid a registration fee once a year and then you just did whatever shows you wanted. Now they make money off the competitors. So the onus on them to really push the rest of the show as an entertainment, for entertainment value for an audience, isn't as urgent as it would be if you had like it was in the past, where the promoter, if he didn't have a room full of people watching the show, wasn't making a whole bunch of money. So it's a different way that it's run as a business structure. And I think that's made a big difference to how the marketing goes and how those things are pushed publicly. So I think just, hopefully in time things will get better. It seems to me like we went through a real lull for quite a few years, and even over here in terms of competitor numbers. But with the advent of Classic and that sort of thing, all of the shows look to be improving. So, you know, that'll spill over at every level, right? Because not everybody wants to go down the PED route. And I also think that the best experience somebody can have is to do their first prep or first couple of preps natural, because if you know how to do, if you push yourself through that process, then when you're doing PEDs, it's not that it's easier, it's still super hard, but it's different. You know what I mean?
You learn what works, right? You learn
a lot, yeah.
You don't just,
and then you learn that your
I don't-
baseline is still good. Your expectation of what you can achieve. The problem is a lot of people think they can't achieve anything without PEDs, but you learn what can be achieved without, and then you just add to that.
yeah, and like you can't, like a lot of time people will take X, Y, Z, get a response from it. Oh well, you know, that means this works, but really the only reason for that response is because you took X, Y, Z. It wasn't actually the fundamentals that you were doing. So yeah, but anyway, we'll move on. Considering the intense physical demands and pressures of bodybuilding, how do you prioritize and maintain your mental health to ensure balance and well-being? For me,
That's one for you, Denver. Balance and well-being. We'll start with the balance.
Wait, say that again.
so consider basically, how do you maintain balance and well-being with bodybuilding? Like, how do you prioritize it? I mean, this is what gives us our balance and well-being. Let's be honest.
Yeah. But, I mean,
this.
if I didn't have bodybuilding, I feel like, I mean, I'd be out of whack. You know, I feel like this is what holds me together. Bodybuilding is what makes me me. So like I struggle without my routine, like my meals, my training, everything to my day. Like I thrive off it, bro. So like I feel like I'm probably the worst person to ask that. But at the same time, I do have stuff out of bodybuilding that I do enjoy, like a hobby. So I feel like that kind of gives me a little bit of, when I feel like it can get a bit overwhelming and I need something to just relax my brain with, even like if we're deep in a prep, something like that for some people, it could just be gaming, you know, to create a bit of balance and just that mental break as well. And for me, it's cars, you know, I have a massive passion for that, but I don't really share that with people unless it's where people like very close to me. Well, what people see is just them with the bodybuilder.
Yeah, that's a good question, because there's so many ways. Like, that's one way to look at it, and I used to look at it like that. But the way I view bodybuilding now is a lot different to how I viewed it, you know, even 2 years ago. For me now, bodybuilding is something that goes on in the background. So the training, I train at the same time every day. I eat my meals relatively the same time because I have a schedule. Bodybuilding gives me that schedule, keeps structure to my day. I know that I have meal one at this time. I do client updates as soon as I've finished meal one for the next hour and a half. And then I chill for half an hour, I have a coffee, I have meal two, I go to the gym, blah, 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 blah. So it's for me, it's in the background, but it's what keeps me going. It keeps me structured, and it gives me a purpose, so to speak, to do, like, it gives me a purpose to get up at a certain time. It gives me a purpose to get up, not just get up, but have my coffee, go for my, you know, do my morning walk, or blah, blah, blah. It just gives me that structure. And I feel like if I didn't have that in the background, I wouldn't be able to do a lot of the stuff I've done or that I'm doing that are not even related to bodybuilding. There's a lot of things that I do. And yeah, bodybuilding is just that foundation. And it's also taught me so much. Like, it's taught me the discipline, and it's shown me how, like, far I can push myself mentally. Like, Harry, like, we got to tell a story. Like, do you remember that prep? Honestly,
Yes.
So like, I don't like bringing this up because it's not something that I would promote, and it's not something I recommend, but it was more, and I didn't even need to do it at the time. I'm talking the 2018 one. So basically we're at a point where I was kind of like, I saw John Meadows, rest in peace, but he was talking about a diet, a prep he did, and it was basically like, it was 6 weeks to go, and he just ate like just protein basically. And I was like, oh, I wonder if I could do that. And honestly, it was more of just I want to see how far I can push myself mentally. And I want to put myself on the brink of like exhaustion, but I don't want to just put myself there. I want to put myself there and like fucking stay there and like force myself to stay there and just to see if I can do it. And it actually worked, worked all right. But obviously I wouldn't recommend it. And if you're having to do that in a prep, there's problems in the prep, but whatever, like, don't look at it like that. I just wanted to really push
Well,
myself.
it was a learning experience.
It was, and I wanted to really like put myself in that situation, and I did that, and I was like, holy shit, like I felt like I can do anything. If I turn my mind on, I can do anything after doing that. It was hard, man. It wasn't just the diet, it was also the cardio, and we won't even talk about it. But anyway, so it's taught me things like that, and it's made me be able to I think, like, if it wasn't for those experiences, I don't know how I would have handled the last 12 months personally. Like, I probably wouldn't have been able to. And I just feel like there's been so many things that have, like, this is why I tell people, like, just for once, commit to a prep. Like, just once, like all these people that muck around, cheat on their diets, come in at looking 12 weeks out, just commit once in your life, not even to know what it feels like to be shredded, but just to build some mental fortitude. Because I'm telling you, like, you do that, there's going to be a point in time, at some time in your life, where you will need that mental fortitude, and that's going to carry you. And it's either going to get you out of a really shit place, or it's going to help you level up in some way. Like, it's so valuable. And I personally think that's the most valuable part of the whole thing, is just the mental strength you get from it. And a lot of guys and girls don't even realize they've got it until something happens, and they just cope, they just handle it. And obviously it takes time, and there's a lot of other things that, you know, go on in life that are going to do this, but it's a big contributing factor. And yeah, that's why I really encourage you. This is way off topic, but if you haven't really fully committed to a prep, just do it once. One, you'll be very thankful you did. You'll feel very accomplished. But two, you're gonna, your mental strength is just gonna, like, bang, beyond comprehension. But yeah.
Well, my perspective on that is that, like, so, you know, the reason why I thought it was a good question for you, Denver, is because you're in the throes of professional bodybuilding, is you know, and your end goal is, you know, your next goal, I shouldn't say your end goal, but your next goal, on the horizon is a big one. So, you know, finding the balance to do that, you have to be almost single-minded about it, and the things that you do outside of that provide you with some mental relief. But at the end of the day, the same as it is with Jordan, and even for me, bodybuilding's something that's always at the back of your mind, in the sense, okay, so I need to eat these meals, and then I can go and do this. I need to get my workouts in, and then I can go and do that. I'm the oldest guy here. I've been training, you know, possibly as long as Jordan's been alive.
Yeah, literally.
and
longer.
Yeah, longer. And for me, it's so, you know, when people ask me about training at this stage of my life, it's grounding. So, you know, I'm 51. I go to the gym and I train. And as soon as I start to train, barring a few, you know, I might be working with niggles or anything, it just throws me back into a headspace that I really like being in. I can just be that kind of, you know, young kid that used to lift weights in his garage and all those kinds of things. Like, it's still super exciting for me to train. I still love and am passionate about what I'm doing in the gym, even if it's things that I don't really particularly enjoy doing, but I do them from necessity. I love the control of having a plan of eating. And, like, you know, you were saying, Jordan, and exactly the same as well, Denver, for you. When you start to control the things that you're able to control, even if it's, for us, it's our nutrition and it's our training and it's our training intensity. So I take pride in the fact that I can train at a level that most people can't train at. That satisfies my ego, and we all need that. Like, I think, okay, man, this is cool. I can still do this stuff. And then, I can stick to an eating plan. I can make these things happen. I still enjoy when I'm like, okay, so I'm going to change my diet. I'm going to start reducing my carbs. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And then I see my body getting leaner, my body changing. And that still excites me the same way it did, you know, 20 something years ago. So even though I'm not in the throes of my, you know, the years when I was competing, the lifestyle habits still sit there always. Like, you know, show me a bodybuilder that, you know, at any stage, no matter how far away they are from competing, doesn't look at a meal and in their head, at least they're doing the math of, there's like probably 60 grams of protein there. It's probably 20 something grams of fat. Maybe if I skip the mash and I just, you know what I mean? Like, we still play all those mental games, and you pick up
if they don't have good appetizers, if they don't have like chicken nibbles or something, yeah, like, we can't eat pizza. There's no protein on it. I know. It's
this is exactly, and I want to tell you guys that 20 years down the line, it's still going to be like that.
But also,
So that's
like,
exactly how I am at this stage. And so when they talk about, so that, you know, something that we've spoken about a lot lately is that choice. So one of the things is that recognizing it's a choice enables you to deal with the people around you. Like the hardest thing is probably sometimes for a lot of people is maintaining their relationships and those kinds of things while they're doing their bodybuilding. I don't see those things as mutually exclusive. I don't understand why people think, well, I can't do this unless, you know, there's such a selfish mentality to it. But at the end of the day, I break it down into time. Okay, I need 2 hours to train. I need an hour, an hour of food prep. So I do my food prep before anyone in my house wakes up. And most of the time I train early, or I train at a time that doesn't inconvenience anybody else. So I can still get all that stuff in and fit it in, make that. And I think that if you want to be effective in any part of your life, that's what you need to work out how to do. But I think that bodybuilding actually teaches you how to do that, because it teaches you how to structure your time and make those things work. Because if you can't make them work, you will not be a successful bodybuilder.
and I also just want to add that people need to let go of this word balance, because I think it's the most
What is it?
bullshit. Like, people are going to balance. Like, there's no, if you want to do anything amazing, there's no balance. And people think like, okay, that means I'm going to go all in with bodybuilding, and that means I'm going to have fuck all going on with the rest of my life. It doesn't mean that. You can do, I'll give you an example. Look at Jay Cutler. Look at Flex Lewis. Two of the most successful bodybuilders ever to walk the earth on stage. And look at what they've done business-wise.
Yeah.
They haven't balanced it. They've just gone balls in bodybuilding, and they've gone all out with business. And they've created this, like, there's so many people now that are, building a physique, but there's like, that's one day that's gone.
Yeah.
You're not going to have that forever. What else, like, there's, I just feel like I just had to like point out that there's no balance, and regardless what you're doing, but there's no balance, but at the same time, you can go all in on multiple things. Okay, some things are going to require a bit more energy than others, but yeah, it doesn't have to just be one thing and then everything else suffers. It doesn't need to be like that. You can have more than one avenue of like attention. You can have this one. Yeah, you can have your hustles, and you can have your this, that. I mean, like,
you only need 2 hours a day to train. You don't need what are you supposed to do the rest of the time?
Even when you're
lie on
prepping
your
for a
couch.
show, like, even if you're prepping for a show, like a lot of coaches can't handle prepping people while they're prepping, just for like whatever reason. But it's like, you're not going to build a successful coaching business, or you're not going to present what you could on stage. Like, you need to go all in on both. So forget this trying to be balanced and trying to like, oh, I need to, like, okay, have your strategies put in place for like your mental health and whatnot, but there's no balance. Anyway, you guys agree, right?
I mean, I agree with all of that. Like, I think that people, you have to work out what is balance. And then I think on the flip side, a lot of guys decide that when they're getting ready for a competition, the rest of their life is null and void. And I think that's ridiculous, because you have to still maintain all of those other things. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can't, I've seen it so many times where people will let their social life, all of their relationships, their jobs, everything fall over because I'm getting ready for a contest. I personally, I don't understand it, because I also know people like yourself, Jordan, who can have all kinds of things going on in their life, still manage to pull a contest out of their ass, looking amazing. You know what I mean? Like, things can be adverse and we can still succeed. It's not one thing at the exclusion of all other things. Yes, you have to be focused. Yes, you need to give your energy to it. And yes, there's a period of your life when you're full on, and I remember it well, when everything that I did revolved around my training, but I maintained work, I maintained, businesses, and I maintained relationships. So yeah, I don't understand when people say balance. Is it because they're thinking that in their mind, I can't do anything else but this? I don't get it.
I think it's
Your
honestly,
life it's always, there's always something.
I think it's an excuse to take your foot off the gas. Personally.
Yeah. Or it's an excuse to be an asshole to everybody. I'm getting ready for a contest.
I've never seen either of you guys take your foot off the gas. I've known you both for a long time. I've never heard either of you be like, oh, I think I just need to like do this because, like, no, you've just got it done because you're there to get it done. So anyway, there's also that entitlement element as well that is quite bad within bodybuilding. people get entitled as soon as they put muscle on, and all of a sudden the world owes them shit because they're big. That's true as well. Like, oh, there's a guy I follow. He makes diet sauces, like diet hack sauces, like calorie free, but he's got lots of them. And he always, bodybuilders will often message him and be like, hey, like I'd love like, you know, to send me some sauces. I'd love to review them for you. So he just sends them the link to buy them. You know? Like, it's like, what, like, why should I give them to you? Why? Like, but anyway, that's enough for today. That's enough. It was good talking, boys.
Yeah,
we can't talk about people who are like, think everyone owes them shit. Meanwhile, they're not doing anything to help themselves.
Exactly. Like, you know what annoys me? You know what
I mean? Like, they're always like ragging on like everybody else should give them shit. Meanwhile, they're living in their mother's garage. Is this what you're talking about?
Oh, like, this is what I mean. Like, exactly. That's what I mean, though. It's entitlement and bodybuilding. Like, and why? Because you're big? Come on, man.
Yeah, exactly. Who gives a shit?
Like, why are people pulling, like, why are people trying to pull everyone else down around them while they're doing nothing? Yeah. Wouldn't it be better to be like, okay, hang on, what have I got going for me? Okay, this is okay, let's use that to my advantage. And rather than try to pull people down, I'm just gonna try and get ahead of them.
Yeah. It's not even, you know, to me, it's not even that. It's just you get in with a group of people that are upwardly mobile, and guess what? You're going to be upwardly mobile too. You know, I mean, I don't know how it was for you guys, but when I started training, probably when I made the most progress of my early life, I was training with there was a group of about 5 of us that all trained together at the same time, whatever, and everybody was doing shit. Everybody was pushing. Everybody was working really hard. Everybody would, you know, if one guy was, you know, struggling a little bit, the other, what can I, not here's something for free. Let me get you a job. Let me help you with this. Let me help you with that. Right. Let me, you know, so everybody was looking out for everybody, but you're pushing each other to work harder, and not just at your training, but also just at every other aspect of your life. Like you know, Jordan, I find you super motivating because I've seen this whole process happen, right? I've seen this whole process of Jordan at uni.
I was working at Pack and Save on the checkout. I used to complain to you about hating my job because I'd go.
Yeah, I've seen that, and then I've seen that. I've seen just the climb. You know, or you'll never make a living as a coach. That ain't going to happen. You don't have the background. I mean, you know, how many times were you told that? And all of a sudden, now you're killing it, right? You know, and I'm sure, Denver, you've had those same. I mean, I obviously don't know you the same length of time, but I'm sure that you've had those same things where, you know, people have told you can't do this, you can't do that. But on the flip side, you've also, no doubt, because of your strength of personality and the kind of bloke you are, you've also probably had a lot of people around you that are like, nah, man, you know, let's do it. Let's move. Let's make shit happen. And, you know, if you don't have the ability to step in and take those chances and build the right kinds of relationships with people that you can take advantage of that, you're always going to be struggling. You're always going to be behind, and you're always just going to be like a bitter guy who hates on everybody that's doing shit that you should be doing.
Yeah.
And I've got no, I see it so much, and I try to be patient, but sometimes I've just run out of patience.
I see it as well because it's sent to me constantly because it's about me.
Yeah. Well, you're sort of like you seem to be like a beacon for it.
Oh,
Why, it's white privilege, bro.
I'm sorry for trying really hard at something and doing the right. I'm
sorry for being successful. Don't do that.
Yeah. Sorry, man. But we've talked about a lot, Denver, as well.
Yeah. Honestly, I don't get it when people complain about like not having sponsorships and this and that and all kinds of shit. And I'm like just make shit happen. We talk about it all the time. I'm like, if I need something, I'm working harder to make that happen. If I want something, I'm getting more clients. I'm putting in more hours. Like, end of the day, I'm like, I don't want handouts. I mean, obviously you're going to get to a certain level, like when you're an elite athlete and these companies can see benefit out of giving you stuff. That's a completely different story. But nowadays it's like you put on a little bit of muscle and you feel like you deserve the world from everybody, you know, like you got this privilege, like everyone needs to be treating you like, I don't know, like God.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's crazy. Like that people put no effort into relationships and expect people to come for them. Right. So I've been super fortunate in my life that I've had, you know, I hardly pay for supplements, and over the years, I've got so much stuff for free from people and so much support from people. And it is purely, definitely got nothing to do with my competitive years, but it's nothing more to do with the fact that I'm a decent human being. I try to be nice to everybody and I try to build people up. So you don't know who you're talking to. Like today, I'm making fun of Alex and his haircut that he needs. And then tomorrow he's in a position where he can say, no, I don't want to help that guy because he's a dickhead.
Yeah, true.
Do you know what I mean? So you got to be super careful and just mindful of, I always try to be mindful of that, because I remember when I was a younger guy coming up, I remember exactly the people who weren't particularly easy to deal with and who I thought were a little bit rude and a bit arrogant. And I wouldn't ever do a thing for them. Whereas I remember also the guys who helped me out, sometimes even in really small ways, and I would do anything in my power to help that person, right? So I try, you know, there's a saying that says, if you want to be good, if you want to keep good company, be good company. And I think a lot of people really need to take that on board.
Yeah, drop these egos, especially like people got egos, but like, what have you actually done?
Yeah.
Like, there's not, you haven't done that much. Denver, remember like a few months ago, you were looking at coaches and whatnot, and there was a few really expensive ones, and you just said, oh, well, I'll just do like 2 extra PTs a week.
Yeah.
And that'll cover it. And it's like, this is the current best, you won't say it, I'll say it, the current best open pro in the country in terms of people who are actually actively competing. Not thinking, oh, well, I'll just message him and, you know, I'm that, mate. I'm just another person. So this is what it costs and I'm going to make it happen. And if anything, you know, you go into that situation, I just want you to coach me, blah, 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 or it could be for anything. And if anything happens, like if say you go and you, oh, you know, you're this, okay, I'll give you a discount, whatever. That's just a bonus. But like, there's not going into that situation expecting shit, because people feel that as well. And it's just like, at the same time, like what I just said before, like people have these expectations and this entitlement for whatever reason. And it's like, you haven't really done much. Even if you're a professional, like at least win some shows before you have this ego and this chip on your shoulder, because until you do that, I don't know. But anyway,
I just have some humility is a big thing, and you'll be received better. You'll just do better in life if you have a bit of humility and you don't expect anything. And then if you don't expect anything, you learn how to make your own way. You learn how to make money. You learn how to work hard. You learn how to create options. If you just wait around, you'll be waiting until you drop dead.
And all those things,
it'll never happen. So you got to chase those things.
They'll all make you more respected. And the minute you become more respected, you get more opportunities because people want to be a part of your process. And people not just want to, they want to make money from you because you're an asset. They also want to support you. And yeah, I'm the same. I've been lucky to make good relationships that have made my life easier. But at the same time, I've done things for those people as well. So it's a two-way thing. It's not just a give me or I'll give you. It's you know. But anyway, we've talked long enough today. But good to have you on, boys. As always, good talking, good chatting.
Yeah, good one today.
Guys, please subscribe and like the video. There's way more views than subscriptions, so please subscribe. Share it to your story. Just before I go, I'm gonna do a giveaway. I'm making my t-shirts this week. Okay. So I'm going to do a giveaway, get a free t-shirt or crop top, whatever, for a guy or girl. Whoever does the best set and tags the page, it needs to be, basically I'm going to judge it on how hard you're going. So intensity and control. Lift it with purpose, but I want to see some proper intensity. If you stop 4 reps short of when you should stop, then don't even bother tagging. Make it hard. And don't do bicep curls. Do something like leg press or squats or something like that. But anyway, wait, whoever wins is going to get a free t-shirt sent to them. Okay.
Does that include pros as well, or
includes anybody?
Oh, right. See.
I just want to see a hard set.
All right.
Tag the page and show us some stuff, guys. Show us some stuff.
What are we going to earn our t-shirts? The hell?
Shouldn't I be getting mine for free? I'm a pro.
Yeah, don't worry, you guys get one.
Shouldn't I get one for free because I know Denver?
No, Denver. You can post a video actually. This is good motivation.
Okay, bro.
All right, guys.
All right.
See you guys. See you next week.
Take it easy.
Real life, real talk, never fall, we ain't doing that. Want me fall off, but I can't, I'm just too attached. I was so lost,